It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Katafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome back to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Katafamo. I'd like to thank you for joining me. On today's show, we are talking with Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil. Captain Cecil, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Philip.
Jake is also a part of the Swiftwater Rescue Team, and to talk more broadly about our topic today, we'll be talking about Jake's position along with the Swiftwater Rescue Team and some flood safety things as well. So, Jake, I think we'd start off with just sort of what are your day-to-day operations in your position?
So our day-to-day operations are coming into work every morning, making sure your gear is prepared, your equipment is prepared, your trucks are ready, your staffing is correct, and moving staffing around wherever needed to staff our stations and all the apparatus. And sort of doing a briefing with the off-going captain, making sure that we're up to date on what's going on with the department, anything that needs repairs fixed, and be ready for the day and be ready to run calls at any moment. So
now I know during the non-monsoon, during the months of the year where there's not monsoon activity, you take on the added responsibility when the monsoon season rolls around, because of course you're a part of the Swiftwater Rescue Team.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does your day look like during monsoon season? Are you just kind of waiting on standby, or do you guys have specific calls you go to? I mean, how does the Swiftwater Rescue Team operate during monsoon season?
So really throughout the whole year, we could be expected to respond on a water incident of some type. So we do have a rescue truck that is equipped with rescue equipment all the time, year-round, staffed, or not staffed, but equipped. Mm-hmm. And we can staff it if needed when we get that call. And we have certain gear bags set up and cache points. If we get a response, say that rescue truck is going one direction and the engine's going another direction, that engine will grab that cache of gear and take it with it. Mm-hmm. But definitely during spring runoff, January, February, March, those are big key months for us for snow melt and spring runoff. Mm-hmm. So we have a bit more preparedness going on there, and we'll go out and do some pre-planning and go and drive around to the low water crossings to see what the water conditions are like. And discussions, that's like an open discussion every morning that we have as a crew, being prepared to run that call and to know what everybody's training is, their training level, certification level. Is their equipment ready? Is it in working condition? So it's year round, but the heightened points of the year are spring runoff and then monsoon season. Mm-hmm. And monsoon season can come in and leave real quickly, so you just sort of have to be ready at any point.
And for right now, we've got a brief pause in our monsoon season, so there's a little bit of a break, but of course we will be expecting potentially some more precipitation next week. I do want to ask, when an emergency call comes through for a Swiftwater Rescue, can you take me through right when you guys go on scene to how you establish and how you eventually rescue somebody?
So those discussions that we have in the morning, at shift change, you do a little bit of preparation for that call. Before you ever run the call, you kind of discuss things and where the storms have been hitting lately and what drainages may be drawing a lot more water and which low water crossings are going to be more of a hazard at that point. So you do a little bit of discussion on that, and then so when you do get that call, you're already mentally prepared a bit, and you've already got your equipment ready, your trucks are ready, and say Kimberly Crossing on one of the Beaver Creeks. We have multiple crossings in our district, so you're going to Kimberly Crossing, what the access points are, basically what you're looking at for the most part, and you're checking weather on your phone. Right. You're checking apps, for water levels, USGS gauges, to see what the water is doing. Is it on the rise? Is it on the drop? Which drainages are collecting water, and is it all coming to us right now?
Where are some of those problem areas that a lot of people get stuck in?
Oh boy, we've got, really we count 22 or 23 low water crossings within our response district. And those are just really the ones that are public access. There's a lot of them that are not considered public access. They're on private property. And any one of those are a huge hazard or danger for the public and for us. So we try to stay familiar with all of them, but
right.
we do have some key hazards crossings, and that is Kimberly Ray Crossing in the Rimrock area, Lacey Lane, WD Lane in Camp Verde that's right off Montezuma Highway, as well as Verde Lakes Drive in Verde Lakes in Camp Verde. That is Clear Creek that you have to cross. Those are all pretty high hazard areas for crossings. So,
yeah, it's kind of interesting coming in from California and really only having to deal with wildfires and earthquakes, it seems like. But then coming here to Arizona, fires, monsoon season, snowing in certain areas as well. I'm from a town that doesn't snow at all. So coming in, just hearing more and more about the monsoon and how aggressive it is and how scary it can be for sure was definitely a bit of a culture shock for me, just to understand more with this job of how just really scary Mother Nature can be sometimes.
Yeah, and in Arizona we have really severe weather, so we have that fire season right prior to monsoon season. So like the Raphael fire, that huge burn scar area, there's no vegetation to hold back all the moisture. So as it comes down really heavily, and that's why we just had that high water event last week.
Well, and also with, like you said, the burn scar areas as well. I mean, that the fire is essentially creating this. I've been told it's almost like a glass. Like it creates this feeling on the soil that really water just kind of hits it and rolls right across it. It's not being absorbed into the soil. It's kind of just using it as a platform to continue to go forward.
Yeah, it seared it, and it just does, and it does not allow the water to penetrate or absorb. It just runs right off. Yeah.
Would you say you've seen an increase, a decrease in calls this monsoon season?
This monsoon season's been really busy. We have had a lot of precip, obviously, which has been great. We've needed that. And I think that's maybe also what caught people off guard. The last couple of years, our rainfall was real minimal, our monsoons were real minimal, and so people kind of got complacent maybe. And now that we have a real monsoon season that's hit, they weren't really expecting that.
Do you think the pandemic played a little bit of a part in that as well?
Possibly.
Just not as many people out on the roads and hiking and stuff?
Yeah, possibly. I think that a lot of people got really used to seeing all these low water crossings just being dry. Right. And all of a sudden this year there's water in all of them.
And that's a really good point. You talked about it a little bit before I asked about the pandemic, but just, last season was so dry, like you said. We didn't get any kind of monsoon like this. We got, I think, a little bit of rain at one point last year, and it was like, oh, is it coming? And then it was like, no, it's this type of storm. It's just going to come through and it's going to leave. And you're right. We are getting severely drenched with water. Of course, very much needed to the area. We are in an exceptional drought, which I know has somewhat been improved, still not perfect, but we needed the moisture. But man, it's what comes with the moisture, is very scary. Just like wildfire season. Thinning operations happen, burn operations happen where you're thinning the forest to make sure there aren't as many fuels on the ground. But at the same time, when those fires come through and they roll through, it's terrifying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue our conversation about flood safety with Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil. Stay with us here on Off the Bench, Countywide. We'll be right back.
Terrifying jobs. Bull Rider, take 2. Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah. Distracted drivers terrify me.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B homes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo. On today's show, we are talking with Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil, and our topic for discussion today is Jake's position on the Swiftwater Rescue Team for Copper Canyon Fire, and also some flood safety things. Right now, we've got a little bit of a pause in the monsoon, but the rain should be coming back next week, potentially. Of course, who knows? I can't control the weather. But Jake, we touched upon it a little bit, but I want to ask, when you guys are on scene, can you take me through what needs to be set up, what equipment is involved, how you guys assess the situation, and how you go about rescuing somebody who might be in a predicament with monsoon floods?
Yeah, so when we get a Swiftwater call, there's a lot of equipment that needs to be put into place. A lot of apparatus, fire engines, rescues, ambulances, chief's vehicles. So first of all, we've got to figure out where this incident is, know that we have the correct location, because it's a dynamic situation. It could be changing. Somebody could be drifting downriver. So access sometimes is really difficult. So luckily, a lot of us are really familiar with all the areas and the waterways and the access to all of them, private property or not. So we've got to get those vehicles into these areas, make access, locate a patient. Right away, we're checking water gauges, USGS gauges, knowing what the water conditions are. Are they on the rise or are they on the drop? Locating, is it one patient? Is it multiple patients? Are they on the roof of their car? Are they stuck on a little island? Are they stuck in a tree? So once we kind of establish all that access, where the people are, how many are there, we can sort of formulate our plan from that point out. And we'll come together as a crew once we've made contact. We'll make that plan and start to get that plan into motion. Really what's ideal is to get people, firemen, rescue personnel on both sides of the river, as well as apparatus on both sides of the river with equipment. Right. So that if we do need to string a line or a rope across the river, we can do that easily. Sometimes that's not real easy to do, and sometimes you have to swim the line across, or you have to inflate our raft and hook that rope to the raft and paddle it across, or a Carlson board. We have like sort of a really large boogie board. It's a rescue board. So we've got all these different options in how to do it. But what we're really doing is doing an evaluation of how dangerous is this situation, and how much danger are the people in, and how much danger are we going to put ourselves in. Sometimes the plan is wait. We're going to wait right here. The water is dropping. Mm-hmm. We're going to comfort these people and let them know we're making a plan, and the plan currently is... you guys aren't leaving or anything. Yeah, we're not leaving you. The current plan is the water is dropping, the hazard is leaving, so as soon as the water drops a little bit more, we're going to do a low water crossing to go out and get them, and that means just walking out in sort of a V or a wedge, all on our feet, and make access to the patient, and then bring them out that way. And always the plan is do the whole operation as safe as you possibly can, for the firemen, for all rescue personnel, and the people that are stuck in the river. So,
I mean, you guys aren't just, I don't know if there's a perception of how you guys respond to things, but you guys really aren't just, showing up and throwing a rope across and hooking it up to a tree and then, moseying your way over to the car. I mean, like you said, there is a lot of establishing certain things, backup measures. Like you said, you're staging cars, trucks, rafts, assessing just what kind of rescue it is. Like you said, there could be involving multiple people. I mean, there's a lot that goes into you guys showing up to a scene.
Yeah, and it's really personnel intensive. It takes a lot of people to run a rescue like that because, like you said, we need 1 or 2 people upstream. We need a couple of people downstream for our downstream containment, part of our plan, our backup plan. It takes multiple people to go out and effect the rescue. You need people on the other side of the river. You need incident commanders, you need chiefs, you need battalion chiefs, you need a ton of equipment. So the whole scene and the whole operation it's a lot. There's a lot that goes in.
Well, like you said, the incident itself is ever changing. I mean, you could show up and it's high water crossing, and then, if we just give it 10 minutes, it'll be a lot easier. Just stay where you are. We're no big deal. Or you think it's one person, there's actually multiple people in the vehicle. I mean, there's so many different scenarios and ever-changing incidences with something like that. But how about the training? Before we go to break, what kind of training is involved in this?
So the training is pretty intensive. All of our personnel are trained at operations level, which means they can show up and they can help the operations on a scene. About 15 of our guys are swiftwater technicians, so they can get in and do much more technical portions of the rescue, go out and in effect do a go swim rescue. They're really skilled with using ropes and building mechanical advantage systems and boat operations, our raft, the Carlson board. So once you become a technician, you get more advanced and you use the more difficult tools for the job.
What are you guys training in? I mean, obviously, swiftwater rescue involves water, obviously.
Yep.
Are you guys going out to, I don't mean to downplay it, but I mean, genuinely, are you going out to a pool? Or are you going out to, where are you guys staging these training situations?
So some of the areas that we've gone to train is Kernville in California on the Kern River, which is a really good river to train on, and Salt River, which is really great because it's more of a white water. It's a true a lot more hydraulics. It's just a different type of geology in that area, and obviously on the Verde, we've done a lot of training on the Verde because it is a different waterway all on its own. It's really overgrown, a lot of vegetation, a lot of trees, and that makes it really difficult. So, and that's why we like to do a lot of training there because that's where we're going to be running the calls. That and on the Beaver Creeks, Dry and Wet Beaver Creek and Clear Creek, when the water conditions are right, that's when we go train.
Yeah, I mean, and even with the Verde River as well, different elevation changes within the river itself. There's some portions that are a lot deeper than others and some that are extremely shallow. I've been on the river, was rafting once, and was in a portion where my butt couldn't touch the ground, and then I was in a portion where I was basically sitting in the river. So, but of course, you have to train and prepare. Are there any other types of calls that swiftwater rescue teams go on that don't involve monsoon? I mean, are there any types of maybe more minor calls that you guys respond to throughout the year?
No, that's really the main. We're all trained, say, as swiftwater technicians and swiftwater operations, but then we're also trained with rope rescue as well. Okay. So we can do rope rescues. Say we have a vehicle that goes off of a cliff or something. So that's when those guys get engaged, and then they take on those tasks.
So there are multiple functions with the swiftwater rescue team itself.
Yeah, they're cross-trained in multiple areas. So we have to be. We're a small department, so we have to do it all.
Yeah, and I know you told me before the show, when you started at Copper Canyon, you helped kind of build up the swiftwater rescue team a little bit more, and we're going to go to break here in just a little bit, but I know you were very instrumental in putting this together there. Yeah,
absolutely. When I started there, the plan was really minimal and the equipment was limited, so I took it upon myself to really push for that, and Chief did finally buy off on it.
And I'm sure it saved lives. I mean, genuinely, I'm sure it has. If you want any more information about the department just in general, their website is ccfmd.az.gov, and their phone number is 928-567-9401. Of course, in an emergency, please call 911. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil right here on Countywide. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the Valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
I want to welcome you back here to Countywide. On today's show, we are speaking with Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil. Jake is also a part of the Swiftwater Rescue Team for Copper Canyon Fire, and we are also talked a little bit about some of the monsoon flooding that we've experienced. Jake, we haven't got a chance to talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts when it comes to the monsoon season. Obviously, we know a few of the very general ones. Don't cross low water crossings. If you're hiking, try to stay out of canyons and slot canyons and basically crevices that can basically make you a giant bowl. But I want to ask, are there any other do's and don'ts that people should take into consideration, while they're in their car if something happens, or while they're out hiking, what should they look for? If they're in their houses, and flooding starts to occur, just any kind of the general do's and don'ts for monsoon season.
So right off the bat, if there's water in a low water crossing, don't cross. The saying of don't turn around, don't drown. Yep. They mean it. That it's absolutely it's true. And it only takes 12 inches of water to push a vehicle off the roadway.
How much to knock you on your feet?
I think it's like 6 inches, but it really depends on the gradient of the riverbed itself and what velocity that water is moving at. It doesn't take much. I'll tell you that, especially if in muddy conditions, your feet get swept out really quick.
I bet.
So if your vehicle is swept off the roadway, stay in your vehicle. Do your absolute best to stay in that vehicle as long as you can, because that ups your chances of us being able to locate you and get to you. And roll your windows down. A lot of people want to roll their windows up to avoid the water, but then once your windows are up and your vehicle is being flooded with water, your windows are not going to work, or you're not going to be able to get them to go down. So roll them down and be prepared to climb onto the vehicle if you need to. There's a little bit of discussion on whether you should call 911 right away or if you should try to swim to shore. If I'm in that situation, I'm going to call 911 right away while I'm trying to calm myself down, because that's a huge key factor, is stay calm and know that somebody is coming to help you. Most of these low water crossings, the water will come up to the doors, up over the hood, but it's usually not going to completely cover the vehicle. So just know that you're in a safe location already. And with most vehicles, when they get swept off into a waterway, they will sort of gravitate with the heavy end of the vehicle upstream. The lighter end will get swept downstream. So you could come in crossways, but you'll end up in the pattern of the stream. So just stay calm. That's a biggie.
Real quick with hiking, we just got like a couple of minutes or so. What about with hiking? How far out should you be looking, and what are some of those warning signs? Again, we just got a couple seconds here.
Know that you're in monsoon season. Check the weather before you go. Know where you're going, what your access in and out is, and that those streams might be flooded when you try to come back home. know that, the water could come up at any moment.
Well, of course, the big thing is check the weather if you're going to be recreating outside, of course, like you mentioned. And interesting, you mentioned about the windows going down. I would have thought the opposite, to be completely honest. But again, if you do want to learn more about the department, ccfmd.az.gov is the website. Their phone number is 928-567-9401. Copper Canyon Fire Captain Paramedic Jake Cecil, thank you very much for coming on the show to talk about your job. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo, wishing you a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.